So as you can see, we have a Furby completely stripped down and on 6 legs. I've taken time to fab up the metal body for this thing inside my apartment, which is rather difficult with basic tools, but these outside legs were actually purchased, just these little pieces of metal to the right dimensions, so all the physics work, but all the internal body work and stuff is metal that I've cut and bent to the correct size to kind of create this little chassis for the Furby to sit on the cheap and hacking style. But what we got going here is a bunch of electronics controlling the Furby and how it walks and does its various functions. Some little interesting bit about the Furby is it's got one single camshaft here for all of its expressions. That means that one motor drives the mouth, the eyes, the ears, and the rest of Furby's expressions. So in order to tap into those different elements, I have to use one single motor, which is difficult. And controlling the motor in the Furby here on the breadboard is an H-bridge right here. It's an integrated circuit that takes a small power from the brain down here, the Ardunio, and converts it into larger power that goes to the motor. On the topic of power, the Furby has 4 AA's that we're utilizing for the rest of the electronics, mainly just the driving mechanisms. This guy has 2 continuous rotation servos in it, one on each side, each driving 3 legs. And you can see those servo lines coming down here onto the breadboard. Down here we've got a RF chipset that is harvested out of a remote control car from Walmart. It's a really great way to get wireless communications on the cheap. So just yank that out, put it under here, and connected it up. Kind of a cool little bit up here is a rectifier circuit I made out of 8 diodes, and what that does is it takes the inputs that the radio frequency board normally would give a motor, 2 motors to steer a car, and gives us full control over that, so we can control things like these servos on the side to make the legs move. Moving up here, we have the brains behind the whole operation. This is an Ardunio Mega, and this, you can see there's a USB port right there, and that's how we take all of this programming and put it into hardware. So the Mega pretty much controls everything. On top of it is a voice box shield, and this has a SpeakJet speech synthesizer chip on it right here, and that takes numeric values and turns them into spoken words. To get actual strings of words and sentences to numerical value, I have a TTS chip that you can see soldered on way back there. Just did that this evening, and that does makes it speak full sentences on command when we want it to. Pretty much a just very populated breadboard. Powering the high-level electronics is a nickel metal hydride battery in here, actually out of an airsoft gun. So hardware-wise, that is basically it. It's not too complicated. You can see all of the various sensors and devices that are inside of Furby are also connected to the Ardunio, the brain, so we can get readings of all that. There's a speaker in the front of the Furby where it normally would speak, and that is connected to our speech synthesizer chip, so we can control it and have it speak out of its original speaker. Another little nice gadget that Furbies have are Photocell. This reads the value of light that Furby sees, which we can use in interesting ways. So let's do a little example of what Furby does here. But actually before that, there's a Nintendo NES controller, and I took this and reworked its internals, gave it a new pretty much all new electronics inside and actually turned it into a wireless controller for the Furby. It has a big ugly battery pack on it right now. I do have a smaller battery that's going to go inside it, but for the meantime this works out. You can see by pressing buttons that Furby moves, and you can see he's talking a little bit here, but moves forward and backwards, left and right, which is a very, very creepy way. Let's see, Turtle likes it a lot. Hi, kitty. And let's see, so you heard him speaking earlier. That's actually because he saw light over here. And what I have it set up to do is when Furby sees light, he speaks, "I am Furby." There's some little technical anomalies in there that make him spit out kind of weird noises and weird words sometimes, but that just kind of adds to the general hackness of it. Which is kind of fun, but with my coding I will work on getting the voice and kind of expressions in the face to do a little bit more than just say "I am Furby." Possibly route some of the other buttons on this remote to different commands and expressions. But yeah, so it's working, and not much else to it. I hope you guys like it, and sleep well tonight. Alright, say goodbye, Turtle.